I even got a date when I was there.
Range Wilson, Fitness, Comedy, Life.
It was summer 2004 and my 37th birthday was approaching. Now, I have never been one to make a big deal about my birthday. In particular, I did not want to go out and get drunk with friends. I had been doing far too much of that already. Instead, I decided to head up to Santa Barbara, rent a cheap motel room, work on my screenplays, and spend some time relaxing on the beach. It should not surprise my regular viewers that the beach I had in mind was a nude beach. It's known as More Mesa, and as far as I can tell, nude recreation is still common there today. On my birthday weekend, More Mesa was absolutely wonderful. The weather was perfect, the water temperature was ideal, and the naked people were generally attractive looking and friendly. The combination of all those factors made me more social than usual. At a nude beach, I generally keep to myself, but this time around I chatted with nearly everyone there. I usually got a positive response. Many of the folks were regulars who had banded together to thwart the efforts of nearby housing developers to shut down nudity at the beach. The regulars also did their best to keep the creeps away. In fact, I even got a date when I was there. Her name was Marguerite, and she was a firecracker, both personality-wise and physique-wise. I met her when she came flouncing out of the surf and then stared down some gawkers who were up on the bluffs. Naturally, I struck up a conversation with her, and it turned out we lived very close to each other in Venice. We agreed to set up a date for lunch. In the meantime, I headed back to my hotel room just as the sun was setting. I ended up getting a whole bunch of writing done, which meant I could spend Sunday at the beach without a care in the world. And it was truly a glorious day. The weather was still perfect, and the crowd was even more attractive and friendlier than the day before. On my way down to the beach, I struck up a conversation with a college couple who were visiting from San Luis Obispo. His name was Dusty, hers was Renee, and it was their first time visiting More Mesa. They were concerned about gawkers, and based on the knowledge I had acquired the day before, I pointed them towards the regulars on the beach who would help keep the creeps away. Of course, I did not want to be a creep myself, but on this day there was a whole bunch of temptation. After getting my own spot set up and walking the beach for a while, I saw Dusty and Renee and stopped by to check on them. I ended up sitting in one of their low-slung beach chairs, with Renee facing me up on her elbow so we could talk. Her position nicely displayed her impressive physical assets. It was difficult to resist the temptation to stare. In fact, I may have given in to temptation a couple of times, but they did not call me out on it, and we parted as friends. I continued walking down the beach, and what do I see next but 5 teenage girls? 3 of them were fully naked and 2 were topless. They had chosen a spot right at the foot of the stairs, which made them easy prey for gawkers. But that's not how I roll. Even though I had been talking to everyone, I knew it would be pushing the envelope to just plunk myself down and start talking to them. Instead, I decided to walk past to gauge their level of interest. I walked past in one direction, and then since the beach ended shortly afterwards, I turned around and walked past in the other direction. The first 2 girls did not react at all, but the third one turned to her friends and said, "OMG." Girls 4 and 5 ended up rearranging themselves to get the best look possible at my body as I walked away. I kept moving and made it about 30 yards down the beach before pivoting around to discover that the same 2 girls were still staring at me. I gave them a nice smile, and one girl looked away, but the other one returned my smile. But I still did not take that smile as an invitation to join them. I had just turned 37 and felt like I had no business hanging around with naked teenage girls. So I put them out of my mind and just enjoyed the rest of the afternoon on the beach. I mentioned the girls to the unofficial mayor of the beach, who said he had already chased away some gawkers. I thought that was pretty cool. Before too long, it was time for me to leave, since I still had a long drive back to Los Angeles. I headed towards the stairs and the 5 teenage girls. I had not gotten dressed yet, and it turned out the same 2 girls as before were staring at me the entire time I was approaching. I still felt uncomfortable talking to them, but now I was in no particular rush to leave. I figured I had time for one last swim. If they wanted a show, I had no objection to giving it to them. Eventually, I toweled off and got dressed, and the 5 of them decided to pack up as well. Once we were all fully clothed, then I felt comfortable striking up a conversation. In fact, I ended up walking them all the way back to their car. They had just graduated from high school and it had been their first visit to a nude beach. I gave them some advice on nude recreation and also answered their questions about what it was like to live in Los Angeles. When we got to their car, I simply said goodbye. I had done my best to avoid being creepy, and I did not want to blow it all at the end by trying to stay in touch with them. Instead, I simply continued on my way, reflecting on what had turned out to be an extremely fun, relaxing, and memorable birthday weekend. Tune in next time to find out what happened when I had a dangerous liaison with a woman whose husband may or may not have actually existed. Until then, click the icon to subscribe, the playlist to catch up on my life videos, or watch a video that YouTube has picked for you personally. My name is Range Wilson, and I'll see you next time.